Peace, brothers. I hope you're all doing very well, and this new year brings you in good spirits and hope. Okay, first things first, YouTube shut down my channel. I had no warning, no prompt. They shut it down. Then they sent me an email saying they shut it down. Of course, I appealed it, and I was under no illusions that they were gonna do me any favor. I mean, I started the Shining Light channel in 2006, so certainly 11 years. I mean, if 11 years work, and some of it was painstaking, some of it was mentally intimate, you know, you share some of your deepest thoughts, and you share other people's journeys who didn't find the opportunity to voice their story in video form. And that's what the Shining Channel was about. It wasn't just my story, it was supposed to be the unrecognised collective struggle of Western man's plight. But regardless, we go on. A wise man once said, it's not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep going. Profound words for a more modern time. Anyway, I first of all want to thank the heartwarming encouragement and support I've had from you guys, especially a special mention to Whiskey Stills and Tumbleweeds, and to all the guys that supported me and helped me along my path over the past years. And I see some of you have closed your channels down, which I don't think you should have done that. And maybe I'll explain myself and why. I want to say is, those of you that shut your channel voluntarily, I don't think you should have done that. You might have heard me say before, there's going to be men that benefit and take from your content greatly, and they're going to be invested intellectually, if not partially emotionally. And we are emotional creatures. Human beings and men are emotional creatures. Maybe not in the same way as women, but men do have compassion, and men do have attachment. And as we've learned by now, some attachment is good. You know, if you're attached to things that benefit you, that help you spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, benefit you, this is a good thing. This is a good attachment. Of course, attachment to things that harm you physically, like nicotine or alcohol, or even prescription drugs. And of course, those things that harm you internally. You know, those things that we talk about around here, that bring the PTSD, that bring the depression, that take you down into that spiral of self-destruction. I mean, these were the things that we warn men about. These were the things we would try and help guide men through. And in many degrees, I think we were doing so. So when you set up a channel like this, and some of you guys, I think you were overly humble. I think some of you guys didn't recognise your own input in the matter. I think it's important for men to have an accurate gauge of their deeds and their actions. A wise man once said, don't think too much of yourself that you think that you're the best, and don't think too low of yourself that you think you're the worst. No, rather have an accurate perception of where you're at, because that's how good decisions are made. And of course, along the way, we bounce our ideas, concepts and perspectives with other like-minded gentlemen, and we get a better gauge of where we are, what we're doing, where our head's at, where our heart is at. And a wise man, he corrects himself when more knowledge when better information comes along. So if you had a channel and you was bringing out content, bringing out material for men, bringing back and reclaiming the concept of masculinity, probably shouldn't have shut your channel down. We use the analogy of moths to a flame, and it's true. It's absolutely true, and I don't think, strangely enough, no matter how bad or how good a channel or a person, a message may appear, they all agree that most content, most material out there is harmful, is bad advice, is destructive. So these moths gather around this flame, a certain channel, a certain personality, and if they don't get burned by the flame, even if they're not acting on said bad advice, they'll be wasting their time on fruitless, foolish, unproductive information, frivolous entertainment that has absolutely no benefit whatsoever. I'm sure most of you will have prepared your mind, been well intentioned before you started speaking, before you started building your channel, before you started generating your material, that you was well intentioned with it. So even if down the line you might have made some mistakes, keep your channel up, keep your video up, so others who might be in a similar position to you can avoid those mistakes and perhaps start from a better position, i.e. from where you're at now. So keep those old videos up, keep that channel up, even if you feel that some of it was wrong, that you made some mistakes. And similarly, just as there's all these destructive, harmful messages out there, these flames, and some of them are bonfires made up of juveniles, the bodies and corpses of the population who feel rather than think. There's also the light, and that's, I think, what people are looking for. I think people want and are looking for guidance. Think about it. All your disasters, your biggest mistakes in life, the worst things that ever happened to you, the worst thing that ever happened to man, how many of those things could have been avoided if you had known something, if you had been pre-warned, if you had forewarning, if you had premonition? Think about it. The worst things that happen to us is due to a lack of guidance. And even opposite to that, think about all the things that you want that would make you happy. The only thing stopping you from getting or achieving those things is a lack of knowledge, a lack of skill set, a lack of direction. Where do I start? How do I obtain this thing? How do I get this thing? What do I say? Where do I go? So when you start to understand life in these terms, you see how important knowledge and information is. One man has one skill set, another man has another skill set. One man has certain abilities, the other man has other abilities. It's why one man is valued more than another. Knowledge, information leads to skills. From that we understand that knowledge, information is very, very powerful and necessary for a man to traverse his way through this path and road of life. And some of you shared some great insight. Some of you shared some knowledge that no other channel on YouTube has, that the people of the West were not going to find without going through the same tragedies and painful pursuits that we went through. So we weren't offering men the fire, we weren't offering men an inferno to jump in. We shone the light, a lighthouse, so to speak, in the distance. Yet our numbers were never going to match those of the more juvenile entertainment section, because those other lights, though they shine brighter than ours, they burned those who went to it. And for you to close your channel down, all those that were walking towards your light, of course, can no longer find the way. And for those that delete your videos, those people walking towards your information now have to relocate where you're at next. So of course, mirror channels, second channels are notorious for never having the same success as their original. I know there's exceptions. There's exceptions to every rule, and even there's an exception to that rule too. There's an exception to the exception of the rule. Anyway, what I'm saying is, my channel was taken down. I had no intention to ever nuke my channel. I had never intended to delete my channel. As I've always said, always keep your material up, because at some point you thought that discussion, that video was important enough for you to put it on your channel. Just as other men who are new to the scene, that are new to the information, new to the messages that we're giving out, and seeing the other messages around the online arena, they're going to be in a similar position to where you were. So let them learn from your mistakes, and if you had a good video, let them benefit from that video. Anyways, so yeah, after 11 years my channel got shut down, and even though I was not happy about it, as the saying goes, if you're given lemons, make lemonade. So I just took that as a cue for a break. And guys, you should give it a go. You don't know how liberating it is not to log on to the internet for a couple of days. I mean, you guys should try it. Take a day out, and anything that requires electricity, leave it. Don't turn anything on. Turn your phone off, turn your computer off, turn your games console off. Obviously that doesn't include your light switch or your home utilities, but give it a try, guys. You'll start to see, or your focus will drift towards more personal upkeep. So your time will be spent doing a bit more exercise, maybe tidying up those loose ends that you've been putting off, cleaning up around the house, all those dusty edges that seem to get looked over when you're cleaning. But every man needs a reset button. You can't perpetually be doing the same routine year after year. You need some process, some activity to reset your mind, to readjust where you are internally, to recenter your soul. Interestingly enough, this can be done by self-reflection and by reflecting on yourself with other men as well, with other like-minded men. Of course, I always propagate having good company. It seldom benefits a man to listen to trash. It seldom helps you in any way to keep up with current affairs, so to speak. But if you do, make sure you recheck yourself with the good men around here. Listen to what they say. Listen to their advice. If it's good, definitely take it. If it's bad, leave it. I think sometimes people get confused about what we say, because when you're only hearing one video or you only hear part of one podcast, you miss out on huge chunks of the other material. So you might lose a lot of the context. One thing that people get confused about is shame. Simply put, don't blame yourself for what other people do. Don't blame yourself for the actions and choices of other people. A lot of us, some of the things that happen to us, some of the harmful and hurtful things that happen to us were by other people. Obviously, a lot of us, a lot of the harm was done by ex-partners. And then similarly, we don't blame others for the choices and actions that we took. If you did something, even though you was ordered to do it by a senior officer or by your boss, you don't go blaming other people for that. If you did something, even if you was told to do it, you chose and you acted upon those orders. So we don't go blaming other people for our choices, for our actions. So I repeat, we do not blame other people for what we did, for the choices we made. And we don't blame ourselves for what other people did, for the choices other people made, even if those things affected us. We don't blame ourselves for that. That's all for now, brothers. Take care of yourselves.